Hello again, we're in the Hooniversity. My name is Kaz.
This is Medibot.
And, like I said, no, we gotta... There's a doings a transpiring.
This school is in shambles.
Well, yeah, I mean, it could use... patchwork here and there.
It's pretty much a new everything.
Hey, the quality of education comes first. The quality of the halls second, maybe third.
Okay, well, regarding the quality of the education, I think we've just lost the entire faculty.
And student body. Oh no!
What dire research has transpired here?
This poor research assistant has become a laser sniffet.
He has a ray gun for a mouth.
Yeah.
We had to kill him.
When the laser sniffets are really close to you, you should not jump, because the loop will just go around.
We just had to kill a faculty member because they had transformed into a laser sniffet.
Let's try and do that as little as possible. I mean, if the exigent circumstances and running passers-by, student body and research staff are to be believed, it's not their fault, and indeed is Hakleta's fault that they got turned into monsters.
I mean, we still have to defend ourselves if it really comes down to it, but let's try not to engage in any unnecessary conflict.
Well, it shouldn't be too bad. I mean,
This
they
is
have a couple
sneaky
laser
mission,
gates.
Kaz.
I don't know about that. We still are warriors first and foremost, and we do have the pair of us and all our weapons, and not a whole lot of comparative sneaking skills available.
We do. You can
a
be
switch
small
that
and I
turns
can
a
be
thing
underground.
My point is, I don't think we start treating this like a sneaking mission until about halfway through.
Oh no.
Because, yeah. Oh, see? It's close to you, and then that one is a little further away.
Oh, my neck. That laser hit me in the neck.
Gave you a hoopla.
Yeah, right now we just... I think these two were in the economics department.
It's just a shame.
Oh no.
They are a little difficult to avoid.
They do have a pretty fast lateral movement to them.
They tend to set up and then it's just... Well, if you catch them after they stop from their movement, there's a period of time where you can slip by. But until that happens, they can actually slide around a little unpredictably. So it's kind of difficult to avoid them if you're not really trying. Well, I found it difficult. Viruses, on the other hand, well...
Viruses are not people.
And Eker as well.
That virus is gonna chew on the head.
Poof.
Wait, I cured them.
Yes! You can cure the viruses rather than dealing damage. But you're not looking so hot. So.
I have a strange disease, Kaz. I feel light as a feather.
The poison will take off hit points every round. No, Eker's just gonna walk up and take a hammer to the face. Eker has a range of other abilities. Well, the range being 2. But we'll see him soon enough.
Yeah, we're okay with fighting viruses and Ekers, because those were never people to begin with, so destroying them is
The viruses were lab
correct
experiments that escaped, the Ekers were lab equipment that escaped. So really we're just rounding up the garbage. I mean, it's sad to think of, like, lab animals as property and as destroyable, but it's just a fact of life.
Ultimately, if we let any of them outside the confines of the university, they will wreak havoc on the entire population, probably reducing it to 1/3 its original size.
I don't know about that, but it's certainly not the ecosystem that they were designed for or belong in. And, for instance, it could be just as harmful to them to escape out into the world where They do not have a natural niche.
I don't know, they looked pretty adaptable to me.
Adaptable how? Like taking a hammer to the face? Accidentally annihilating each other if there's too many of the incorrect color adjacent?
Right, so they have genetically designed into them this sort of quality that makes any given type of them from, like... It's enforcing variance so that no single cure can ever destroy all of them.
Well, sure, lots of bacteria pull this trick. They're able to rapidly mutate and adapt.
Right, these bacteria come up to your shins.
The macroviruses.
They are biters. They have no table manners, and they're pretty quick on their feet, and they're biters.
Are you trying to call these what, laudable traits? Is that a?
What I'm saying is that they're not going to have any trouble outside of this environment.
And yet they might. Just think about it. Imagine if two of the incorrect color bumped into each other. They would die.
True.
Okay. And there's three of them, so they would auto-reduce to a kind of cautious stasis with one another.
But say there's 1 million of them.
Look, I can show you the math on how quickly 1 million viruses arranged, let's say at random, okay? 1 million of these different colored viruses arranged at random, how quickly, how many of them would go away, and to what level. Alright, I'll draw up that experiment and post it with this video, so that everyone else can also know. And that'll be a biological model for the spread of the macroviruses outside of the university setting where they can be carefully contained and separated where they will not harm one another. What I think you'll find is that they have a kind of inherent third life to them. It's not quite a half-life because 0.5 is not the exact parameter of their mutual annihilation. It's more like a third.
Well, then I guess really, the unanswered question that once we have the answer will either prove you right or me right is how fast does it reproduce?
We should come up with 3 different models for their reproduction and test each one.
A deadly virus.
So we do see them, I guess, spontaneously generate in the hallways. Okay, how about this as a model? All right. Each pair will have one with which it will annihilate. That's the same color pair. One with which it will do nothing, and one with which it will procreate a third. So then we have a, 1/3 death, 1/3 neutral, 1/3 increase. And that would, at least in theory, balance out from a, well, I don't want to say homeostatic view, but it would, at least in theory, form a kind of stasis with
it's the random
population
walk.
mechanic.
It'll take an infinite amount of time to hit either end.
Yeah, subject to no external force, like ceteris paribus here. It's just virus model. I think that's that's at least a workable theory for a model. I'll take a look at that. Let's see what else.
This is, of course, us hoping it's random and that they do not somehow learn of their own strengths and weaknesses.
Well, I think the only reason that we don't see, for instance, 2 of them together of the same pair is that it just wouldn't happen.
Right.
So all of these encounters that do not have viruses are where they would have had viruses, but they just didn't work out. But for them, it works out pretty well for us. And here we see that the group size is also important. So there is some kind of proximal clause to their existence, where in theory the ideal situation for a creature of this kind would be to be as far separated from any of its same species as possible, or to be just impossibly isolated, which is fundamentally at odds with our understanding of models of bacterial and viral cultures, where they just by dint of their existence need to exist in a swarm. Or
But I guess what we saw in this room was 3 sets of 3 viruses, each virus in the set being a different color, but that still meant that there were 3 of each color in the room, but by forming off into these stable triplets of, you know, 1 red, 1 blue, 1 yellow, they avoided instantly annihilating one another.
They avoided the necessary proximity to cause the like defeats like reaction.
Right. But
Yeah,
they were
what do you
still,
call
sort of... I guess the groups could exist in relatively close proximity, so long as they... So it seems that the self-annihilation has some sort of maximum range to it. And it appears to be a pretty small maximum range.
Yeah, so it looks like they can exist in the same room, say, and that's enough to cause proximity, but if they're in the same hallway, that's not. That's a factor of volumetrically, I don't know, let's see, 10 that way, 5 that way, 5 that way, like 1 to 250.
Okay.
Oh wait, not
maybe
1,
I am
it's
getting
more
too
like,
concerned about this
more
case.
like
Maybe
10
they
to
don't actually
250,
present a
so
threat.
1 to 25. I'm saying that it's something that we could model first and then freak out about.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm going to delay my terror until after I've cooked up some numbers about it. And in the meantime, I'm going to go on micro-adventures. Ugh, those viri are now as large as I am.
Maybe you could use that against them.
I have a feeling they would use it against me first. Oh, an arrow.
A switch.
We'll go there later.
Hit that switch while you're here.
Yeah. Make the barrel up. Can't go out there, though. Just have to hop back up. Now it's time to explore down here on my micro-adventure.
The mystery room.
Is. I only discovered this way later, and it's probably too far gone now to go back, but there are 4 hidden blocks in this room, and in all of my pounding and jumping around, I didn't manage to accidentally bump into any of them. Yeah.
You think they're researching stealth technology in here?
They're researching lots of different kinds of blocks, so I think stealth blocks could be among that.
What do you think about the potential military applications of such technology?
Of boxes?
Of hidden boxes. I think they can set deadly traps.
Well, that is maybe, but it's proven time and time again that traditional mines, for instance, are just not as effective as other alternatives. It's way more effective to have an automated box launcher mechanism with a kind of sensor on it. You can tune the sensor to see more specific things than simply detecting a pressure or temperature variation. You can detect like pressure, temperature, size. You can even make the things to model or recognize, I should say, different models of tank, and then program the effective response from the hidden box, like launcher mechanism, to fire only ordnance that is effective against that particular kind of target. So I really don't think that the invisible box is adding a lot to that. However, if we use the invisible box technology on the ordnance launcher, that would make it even more hidden, and that would be like okay for military applications. I don't know if it would be worth the cost of production, say. That's really the ultimate point there, is what's our bottom line with what's our bottom line, and what's the overhead involved with applying the stealth box technology.
Stealth box.
I mean, of course, it would be just the best of all possible worlds for a Solid Snake, for instance. Be like a box that really does make you invisible. My God, he would never leave. There would be this invisible box containing a deadly warrior somewhere out there in the world.
Maybe hundreds of them.
Ooh, a switch. I wonder what's gonna happen. Ah!
It shot you with a sphere.
Just like the last one. If only I had been in an invisible box, it never would have seen me. You know, I'm warming up to the idea of the stealth box technology as I think more about it. Bam!
The stealth box emits no heat.
Got him with the hammer. The tricky part of the viri, while you've pounded them with the hammer, while they're stunned, they don't change.
No.
They will not mutate while they are stunned.
Perhaps some sort of autoimmune reaction?
I think it's deliciously ironic to characterize it as autoimmune, but I'll accept it.
Like, are the viruses complex enough life forms that they themselves have immune systems?
You know, possibly, because they are carriers of other poisons, toxins, or diseases. It's not like you contracted them when they bit you.
No, I contracted something they were spreading.
Right. You would be just full of stuff, and given that they exist in the world and have surface area, presumably, that would mean that the various microbes in the world would be able to, like, coat them. So without an autoimmune response, they would... Well, they would also have to have cells, or at least some kind of protein structure that that another disease could latch onto or interface
That could
with.
be attacked.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm gonna put down my official guess as yes, they do have autoimmune responses. This is a yo-bro. He's pretty boring.
Yeah, he sometimes does tricks or fake outs, but usually doesn't.
Yeah.
Usually he just sits there and has a whole bunch of hit points.
They have a lot of hit points. It's kind of absurd. And you know they have
Basket full of hit points.
the most obvious telegraph of any enemy. Really, it's just like,
Oh yeah.
I'm
it's-
gonna use the red one on the red guy. Ugh. The one time they're tricky is when they're at a certain distance. The yo-yo that they're using will be hidden behind another enemy. And so it's like, oh,
Using-
gee, you got me good, buddy.
Using metagame features to defeat you.
Got me good. So the idea here is that we have to ultimately hit that switch. The way we do it is,
We hit this switch.
well, yeah, it's weird.
We gotta hit a lot of switches here.
We have to. It's a whole maze of puzzles. Puzzle maze.
You can go in there and have some micro adventures.
I can't.
There's nothing for you over here. There's a
We're
wall
blocked off.
and that thing in a capsule.
Well, alright, bro. Shrink me down. Alright. It's, in addition to being a maze of puzzles, also a maze. I feel like a rat. Ugh, look at this. Mouse Mario running in a maze. Blah. Even all of the smiley faces will not cheer me up.
Yeah. They're trying to make you not think about the horrible, oppressive society of the Bean Bean Kingdom. And while you're running around in this literal maze symbolizing the metaphorical maze that, whenever anyone tries to enact social or economic change, they are subjected to.
Ain't my kingdom, buddy. And in my kingdom, I make it with the princess. In theory. Well, it made another barrel happen, whatever that gets us.
Let's try and spin back over then, why not?
I think we're too low. Oh, really? I
We
bumped
got
into the
blocked?
box? Ugh, the box blocked me. It's a box blocker.
Box blocker.
It's like the reverse.
I hear
of
a lot of
cocktail.
doctors are prescribing that as a supplement.
What, box blocker? That can't be right. It's time for you to take the form of barrel.
This new barrel is much better.
Yeah. You pick this one because then the shot bounces off here and here. If you pick the other barrel, then the shot will hit the man.
And the man will strike you about the head and face.
Yeah. It took you. You got taken. I should get Luigi. Barrel area. They call it the barrel area. Okay, well, Medibot's gone, so we'll have to go get him. Let's see. Oh, right, the crane picked up from here, so I can pass through. I don't want to get into any encounters right now, because I don't have high defenses, and I don't trust myself to dodge all the viri. And while you may not have seen it from our, speed-through plays of it, the red ones can hit really, really hard. Ah! There's Medibot. Okay, now I have to play Donkey Kong to get back up to the top. And it should be no problem. Just have to mind my timing and... Okay, I got greedy with that when I was trying to jump over a barrel while I was on a low area and I was on a high one. The rest of this should be pretty pedestrian. Not all that challenging. Besides, I mean, I was in a barrel. It's not that bad. The form of barrel, right? Yeah, there you are.
Help me.
No, oh, man! Well, at least there's a switch to hit. Oh. Oh, there you are. Oh boy. Looks like fun. All that to hit a switch. We could probably have taken out a pocket mirror and accomplished the same thing. Lives of adventure.
Oh my god. I just vomited up my own shoes, and that is only possible because I first swallowed my own shoes.
You know, I do regret that we didn't make the man pop out. It's kind of cute.
They're everywhere. But only that one can activate. Could the other ones activate if we applied a strong enough electric charge?
It's testable. Just as soon as we get some kind of electricity. That professor had a vacuum. Maybe we could work that into a...
Yeah, you can use some kind of... If we can reverse the polarity of the capacitance in the circuit bendologons, Kaz, I never studied electrical engineering.
Look, the point is that in a vacuum you have an electric motor powering a fan. Alright? So if we force air through the fan, it will in turn turn the motor and provide us electricity. It's reversible that way.
Oh.
So all we have to do is blow into the vacuum and put the plug end onto the main. Easy.
That should be really... Wait, we could even hook up another vacuum to it.
I mean, strictly speaking, yes, but if that's the case, then we could, use the vacuum's power source that's powering the vacuum to get a a charge to...
No, we can't extract the power source from the vacuum, but we have one vacuum the other vacuum to generate the power we need.
No. That there's no need to go through the extra transformation of energy into ionic symbolism or whatever.
But then we have two vacuums. Two vacuums.